What up, y'all? Cherries and Bunions back in the building. And today I'm gonna do a little tutorial on just basically drawing a background living room type scenery cuz when it comes to animation, it's more than just character animation. You got to draw backgrounds, whether it be a room or somewhere outside or in a car, a restaurant, inside the casino. You got to draw backgrounds for ambiance and set the mood for what the scene is like trying to convey, like the story trying to tell. Your background gotta match the theme of the story you telling. So with this, I'm just drawing a background with the tools that's given to me within this program called Moho Pro, and I'm using version 12 of the program. And as you can see, this background is in perspective, but it's like a freestyle type perspective. I'm not using no perspective points and lines. I'm just freestyling off the dome. And I drew the floor and the wall and a little trim, and now I'm drawing the couch. So basically, you have a scene and you got characters interacting in like a living room type setting, you know what I'm saying? And I'm using the tools on the left side of the screen to draw, and the layers are on the right side of the screen, and the drawing is done in the middle in the viewport. And I'm not using the timeline in this tutorial because it's just drawing. And one thing about animation, it's going to be a lot of drawing and writing. So those are the two things you got to focus on the most, is drawing and writing, drawing and writing. So don't get boggled down with all the technicals. That's going to come within time. But the bulk of your work is going to be drawing and writing and storyboarding. That's why I say keep on writing. Keep on writing and keep on drawing. That's the most important thing. That's what you're gonna be doing the most. If you on the journey of being an animator and an illustrator. So one tool that's always being used is the add points tool. And the add points tool is at the top in that draw panel. The add points tool is basically the tool used to draw lines. And when you draw lines and it's not a complete shape, you have to solidify the lines with the create shape tool. So when you draw your lines and you draw your lines that's not complete shape, you take the create shape tool, which is sort of similar to a select points tool, and then you select the points and then hit enter, and then the lines become solidified. And so you see right now I'm just drawing a simple couch, and as you can see, the couch, it got a lot of jagged edges, so you got to use the curvature tool to curve out the lines to make them look more nicer with the curve. So that's really like the work process, the workflow with Anime Studio. You draw lines, you move the lines around, and then you curve them with the curvature tool. So I'm just drawing a quick couch here, little background, real quick. And mind you, don't let this intimidate you. Like, I know how to do something. That's it rendered right there. See, what you see in the viewport is a digital version of whatever you drawing and animating. But when you press Control R, you get the rendered version, which looks way more it looks better actually. The viewport version of your art looks like digitized and pixelated. Not really pixelated, but digitized. But when you render it, that's when stuff start looking smooth. And basically, yeah. But yo, don't forget to go to my website, cherriesandbunions.com, and you can get a lot of free stuff that I'm giving out, free beats, tutorials. I got a free ebook. You don't have to download it or give me your email or nothing. You can read it directly on the website. I got my movie. It's for sale called Stinky and Taco. It's a cool movie, but it's for adults. It's not for youngins. It got X-rated material in it. It's an animation. It got adult themes and all that, so it ain't for kids. But it's for sale on my website, cherriesandbunions.com. And I'm gonna be adding a lot of other stuff on that website, you know, cause I'm constantly animating and I'm making movies, doing shorts, doing tutorials, doing all that. So look at the couch in the rendered version right there. It's not perfect, but you know, this is just a quick tutorial showing that you can draw complicated, intricate stuff using vector art just like you was using a pen and paper or a stylus and a drawing tablet. And we just using vector art. And vector is another drawing medium that's different from traditional hand drawings. It's a digitized drawing, and the good thing about vector, it's easy to animate because you see the way I'm moving the points. You can move those points within time and create animations. That's why vector art translates well with the animation workflow. Whereas you using pixelated art or pencil and paper art, those forms of art can't be manipulated like vector art could be. And you see, I'm just creating more layers. And one thing about it, when you got a lot of layers in your layer panel, and especially like if they background objects, it's good to put all of them in a group. Because when you put them in a group, you use less resources, less CPU resources on your computer, and they render faster. So try to organize your layers within groups. So your computer, you put less stress on your computer. And right now I'm just adding a little texture to the wall, just like lines and stuff. Because it's always good to add texture to your drawings. It just give it just a little bit more flair and pop. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just put like a bunch of slanted lines on the wall. And this is another thing. As you see, when I was originally drawing, the lines I was using are black lines. Like you see the couch is like the color is green and the outline is black. But you see on the wall I'm using pink lines. And in order to change the color of your lines, in the color panel, instead of left clicking on the line, you right click on the line. When you right click on the line, that changes the color of the lines. When you left click on the line, when you left click on the colors, you change the color of the fill. So remember that. That's a jewel right there. When you right click on a color, you change the colors of the lines, and when you left click on the color, you change the color of the fill. And as you can see, I added texture to the wall, and then I'm going to add some texture on the floor with just basic dots. And you see I changed the color of the line back to black. So now the floor is going to have black dots just to add texture to the floor. And that's all within different layers. Well, it's actually the same layer as the lines on the wall. I'm putting it all on the same layer, which is no big deal. You can make them separate layers. And even if you use it on the same layer and you want to separate it later, you could do that by duplicating the layer and make one layer dots and make one layer slanted lines, or make one layer floor texture and one layer wall texture, and just select and delete the unwanted parts of the layer and for each layer right there. So that's the room right there with the texture on the wall and the texture on the floor. Add a few more things to this room, and this is just basic art. I'm gonna add a picture right there. The shape tool. All the tools you need to draw is on that left panel. And they also got other tools in that left panel, like you got the camera tools. If you want to use bones, they got the bone tool, but I don't use bones. I'm an advocate of not using the bone tool, because in this program right here, the claim to fame for Moho Pro is the bone tool. Where you can make rigs for your character. But I've been using this program over 10 years and I just don't use the bone tool. I don't make rigs because I'm an artist, you know. I'm not the type of guy that's I just don't do rigs because it's just slowing up my workflow, and I just never had the need to use them. Because there's so many other ways to animate within this program. This program is so powerful. I just never, I was using bones in the beginning of my journey with this program. But then I just came to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not using these bones anymore because it's not helping my workflow. So that's that. I'm just drawing a picture on the wall. Because, you know, you got a room, you got to have some decor. So this is just a picture. And it's just like an abstract picture. No big deal. I always do that. But yeah, bones and rigs, that's not my thing. I just draw and animate. I just draw and animate. And look at that. I went inside the layer and put shadow on the objects within the picture. So that's what made that picture look like that, because when you click on the when you double click on the layer, you can add shadow with the program. Instead of drawing it, you could just add a shadow, which is a cool feature. And right now I'm gonna draw a couple of desks, some side tables. And like I said, this room is in perspective, but I'm not I'm just freestyling, eyeballing the perspective. It's like a 1-point perspective room right here. And I hope y'all been writing, doing a lot of writing, because like I always tell y'all, without no writing, there's no animation. There's no drawing. There's nothing happens without the writing. The writing is the soul of all your projects. So right now, this is just like an end table on the side of the couch. And you know, this program do have quirks and got you run into some problems. So if y'all got any problems using this program, leave me a message or in the comments, and I'll try to answer y'all in case y'all need help, because there's some sometimes the program do be glitching like any other program. But with my experience with this program, it never really crashed on me. And if you got good hardware, it shouldn't crash on you neither. But it does have its quirks though, where it'll glitch and do some messing up, like doubling up on the points in the line. It'll do that sometimes, and some other crazy stuff it'll do. But if y'all running into any troubles or whatever, just let me know. And I just copied and pasted and flipped that other table over to the other side. But yo, that's about it for this tutorial right here. And I just drew a room. And I'll just check out in the next tutorial. Peace.